Let's get to the statement that's coming from the Iranian foreign minister. In his first briefing post the attack, the Iranian foreign minister has deemed America's strikes on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran as a violation of the UN Charter. And so Iran has confirmed that they will defend their country against what they refer to as a betrayal by America. The Iranian foreign minister says that US betrayed diplomacy and negotiations. Remember that the Iranian foreign minister has been leading the delegation on behalf of Iran for all dialogue. There's been a dialogue that's been underway, including one round that took place on Friday, in which you had several ministers, several representatives from Europe and Iran indulging in these talks after the fallout between America and Iran. And now the foreign minister of Iran saying that this was a betrayal by America of the negotiations that were underway. Importantly, another big update coming in is that the Iranian foreign minister will be headed to Moscow today to meet with Russian President Putin. There have been a lot of questions about whether Russia, China will also enter this conflict to take on the West. Okay, so this is in fact what the Iranian foreign minister has said. Remember, he's been a part of the dialogue, the negotiations, the peace talks that have been taking place, in which you had a delegation from Iran having a dialogue with representatives from Europe who constantly were talking about US willing to have a conversation about some ceasefire or some sort of deal. And now the Iranian foreign minister hence is saying that this was a betrayal by America. Listen in.
Well, I have been in touch with Tehran, of course. I still do not have exact information about the level of damages, but I don't think it matters how much damages have been made. Attacking a nuclear facility by itself is an unforgivable violation of international law and should be condemned. Of course, the door for diplomacy should be always keep open, but this is not the case right now. My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond based on our legitimate right of self-defense. And we will do that as long as needed and necessary. We suddenly faced with the aggression by American forces to our nuclear facilities. The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression. The US military attack on the territorial integrity and national sovereignty of a UN member state carried out with genocidal Israeli regime, carried out in collusion with the genocidal Israeli regime, has once again revealed the extent of the United States' hostility towards the peace-seeking people of Iran, who will never compromise over their independence and sovereignty. The Islamic Republic of Iran continue to defend Iran's territory, sovereignty, security, and people by all means necessary against not just US military aggression, but also the reckless and unlawful actions of the Israeli regime. While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives. The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the Security Council to convene an emergency session to unequivocally condemn the criminal act of aggression by the United States against Iran and to hold the administration in Washington accountable for its violations of fundamental principles of United Nations Charter and of norms of international law. The responsibility of the IAEA and its Director General, who through evident bias in favor of warmongering parties paved the way for the current violence and bloodshed, is now clearer than ever. We call on the IAEA Board of Governors to immediately convene and carry out its legal responsibility in response to the dangerous US attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, all of which have been under the agency's full safeguards and monitoring. The world must not forget that it was the United States which, in the midst of a process to forge a diplomatic outcome, betrayed diplomacy by supporting the genocidal Israeli regime's launch of an illegal war of aggression on the Iranian nation. Not content with such malign actions, the United States itself has now also opted for a dangerous military operation and aggression against the people of Iran. In doing so, the US administration holds sole and full responsibility for the consequences of its actions, including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter. In accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its security interests and people. The US act of aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes not only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter, especially the prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the US, a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime. The Islamic Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations, the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international law. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos. Humanity has come too far as a species to allow a lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle.
Let's bring in Pranay Upadhyay on this broadcast for more details. Pranay, a clear message there from the Iranian foreign minister that they deem this to be a betrayal by America, but also run us through the big announcement he's made that he's going to be in Moscow today meeting with President Putin amid all of that speculation, suspense on whether Russia too will enter this conflict.
We can't say with surety, Akshita, whether Russia would like to join this conflict or not, because Russia is already engaged in a war which is still on for the last 3 years with Ukraine. But definitely there are back channels. There are back channels between Russia and Israel as well, because Russian's President Vladimir Putin just a while ago, he spoke to Benjamin Netanyahu as well. He had a conversation with Masoud Pezeshkian as well, who's the Iranian president. And just a while ago, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke to Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, and they did discuss the de-escalation, the dialogue and diplomacy. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi conveyed to the Iranian president as well. So at a time when the Iranian foreign minister is likely to visit Moscow, there is also a statement which coming in from the Deputy National Security Advisor and the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev. He clearly said that that US has committed a mistake by carrying out these attacks on Iranian territory, and this will further complicate the situation. So these are the clear messages. Certainly, this was a kind of a red line which US has crossed. US is siding with Israel and US have indicated that they are quite committed to have denuclearization of Iran. So in such a situation, we have to see that whether Russia would want to join, or what kind of security guarantee they would like to ensure, because Russia has strategic interest in Iran. They are partner, and in fact, Iran has helped Russia to have military capabilities in the war against Ukraine. So therefore, this remains a complicated situation. Dialogue and diplomacy everyone is talking about, but currently we do not see any indication of any peace negotiation, any indication of either Russia, either Israel backing down, or Iran de-escalating the situation. The clear message which has come from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is that they are going to retaliate, and there will be a retribution as far as this attack is concerned.
What form of retaliation, we don't know, but two big takeaways from what the Iranian foreign minister said. One, that he's headed to Russia. What will Russia do is a question, because Putin so far has said that, look, Israel is a country that has a massive Russian-speaking population, and so we're not going to go ahead and take any steps in a hurry. Second takeaway is that, remember, the Iranian foreign minister has been part of peace talks. Now, with him referring to what America has done as betrayal, looks unlikely that that's something that Iran is looking to continue. Thanks very much, Pranay, for getting us all of those updates. We're tracking all the big takeaways that emerge from the conversations that Iran is having with world leaders, attempting hard to drum up as much support as they can in taking on now not just Israel, but also America. We'll keep track of all the updates that are coming in as you're tuned into our rolling coverage here on India Today of the West Asia conflict that America has now entered into.